Hey guys, my name is Jesse Romero, and this channel exists to help men build their faith, their strength, their influence, all so that they can finish stronger than when they started. So today's topic's about reclaiming your physical vitality and why traditional cardio fails for men over 50. I think that's a pretty specific topic for a very broad subject that I'm going to be going into today. And it's about overtraining mostly, but really it's about the stress in your life. At 50, literally on my birthday, I had a panic attack, and that was due to too much stress in my life. I thought that was mostly around work, but it kind of spilled over into everything. I was just super intense in everything that I did, and my workouts were one of them. And I had to stop training like I had something to prove. I was just always grinding it out at work, grinding it out at the gym, grinding it out in my everyday life. And all that did was bring anxiety. And I know a lot of you guys can relate. You want to, finish as strong as you can. You want to, do as much work as you can. You think that, if you do more than the next guy, everything's going to be better. Really, what that can lead to is burnout quickly. And if you haven't had it yet, be careful, because it's not a fun thing. It's taken me over a year and a half of research and counseling and, completely changing my routine to get back to a point where I felt normal again. So if you're over 50 and your entire fitness strategy is grinding out miles on the treadmill, I want you to rethink this whole thing. And I'm not saying cardio is bad. Walking, swimming, hiking, and conditioning, they're all fantastic for your health. But the problem is cardio isn't the only thing anymore, and neither is just strength training, and neither is doing both to their max. I mean, we're not triathletes. We're 50-year-old busy men, or approaching 50 or a little bit over, and we don't have a lot of time. And that's probably why we push so much in what little time we do have. And there's a smarter way of doing it, long story short. So that's what this video is about. I'm going to go through my notes here that I have, and there's a lot has happened over the last year or so. So I just want you to, have a different way of thinking about things. Maintaining your muscle and your strength is one thing, but also balance is something you need to think about. Mobility, recovery. Those are all different words that just weren't in my vocabulary before. I didn't really think about, why is it hard getting up off the floor? Why am I, panting after walking up these flights of stairs after I did 45 minutes of cardio and, a half hour of hit routine in the morning? It was crazy. So your goal isn't just about burning calories. Your goal needs to be about a body that can perform better. Let's start thinking that way, because the question isn't like, how much more can I do? It's going to be, what do I want my body to be capable of doing when I'm going into my 50s, 60s, in my case, 60s, 70s, and 80s. So here are the things that need to change. Number one, I had to change what being fit meant. When I was younger, fitness was all about looking good, burning calories, pushing harder, seeing how much weight I could move, proving that I could keep up. My mindset had to completely change. I had the same mindset as a 30-year-old in my 50s. Now I think about capability way over vanity. Vanity's still somewhat in there, but it's really more about being capable and, living more humble. So you want to start asking yourself, how can I be able to climb these stairs without panting, right? How can I be able to get up off the floor without my back being sore from the workout and my whole body being tight, and being able to walk, for miles if I had to, without, again, doing it in a certain amount of time, just being able to endure longer, having better vitality, and obviously being active decades from now. So that's what I want. That's the shift that I want you to have around fitness now. You don't want to just look younger. You want to be able to function younger. All right. Number two, muscle isn't just an investment. It's in, getting stronger. It's an investment in your future. Strength training is a huge part of this. And for a lot of you, you're like, yeah, duh, I'm all into strength training. And maybe, cardio wasn't a big thing for you. They both have their places. And as we get older, one of the biggest mistakes men make is they just assume that the losing muscles are part of it. Dad bod. No, that's not part of it. All right. Some decline is natural, but I don't want you to have that mindset. You need those muscles to be able to function better as you get older, and you can grow them more now than ever. They can be like they were in your 30s. That's not your goal per se, but that can happen. That's why resistance training matters a ton. So strength training gives your body a reason to maintain the muscle. And muscle isn't just about looking good. It's about strength, stability, metabolic health, independence, bone health, just everyday capability. It's not training just for the mirror, obviously, anymore. It's not training so that you look like you did in your 20s. It's about, is my body still going to be useful for me 20 years from now? How can my body still be useful to me 30 years from now? Number 3, I started training smarter, not just harder. I know that's like a cliche and it's easy to say, but it's not about training like you did in your 20s, and you shouldn't want to do that anymore. And if you do, have fun with it. You probably have way more time than I do, and probably a lot better access to, performance enhancing supplements. Another thing, my joints and recovery deserve a lot more respect. Joints and recovery are in my vocabulary now more than ever. I found that I get more out of training when I focus on controlled movements, very good technique, going slower, more functional strength, more power in my workouts, better mobility, obviously, and recovery. I still like intensity. Trust me. I'm going to talk about how I weave that in. I'm actually going to go into my personal splits for the week and what that looks like. But I don't confuse intensity with, punishment anymore. It's not punishment. The goal is stimulus over destruction. It's, the fibers are definitely being torn now, but with a certain amount of degree, so that they can grow back during the time that I have allotted for recovery. My weekly structure. Okay, here's how it works. Strength training, just 2 days. 2 days of strength training. For me, it's Monday and Thursday. There's more than enough time to recover in between that. It's a full body workout on those days. I'm focusing on major movements like squats, hinges, push movements, pull movements, core, rotation. I'm using challenging weight and very, very, very good form. As soon as I feel like my form is not where it should be, I'm done. I stop. All right. I don't go any further, or I drop the weights. Most sets should approach muscular failure, though. That is the goal. So you're focusing on the weights and your movement and your muscles and the power, and you are going as close as you can to failure without compromising your form. But I don't need to destroy myself for every workout anymore. You don't need to destroy yourself in every one of your workouts. You don't need that. All right. Now that's strength training. Metabolic conditioning. That's 2 days a week as well. Shorter, higher intensity sessions are what I focus on those days. And obviously those are your off days. So for me, that's going to be Tuesday and Friday. So what does that look like? It's not what you think. It's not like the old days. It's 10 minutes of a HIIT training session, and that's it. Maybe 15. I think that's too much per session, but 10 to 15 minutes twice a week. That's it. For me, it's a kettlebell EMOM circuit. For you, it could be boxing. It could be a YouTube video, a HIIT workout on YouTube, body weight movement. Who knows? But it's high intensity. It could be sprints uphill. Love those. Short intervals. Okay. The goal is to challenge the cardiovascular system without turning every workout into an endurance event. It's not about that anymore. And then there's active recovery, 2 to 3 days in between. So what does that look like? Could be walking, swimming, biking, hiking, easy movements. These aren't lazy days. They're part of the program. So you're still actively moving all the rest of those days to a certain extent, except for like Sunday. For me, Sunday is pretty lazy, but they're part of the program. Hard days should be hard, but easy days should be actually easy, right? Recovery is where this adaptation happens. Growth happens during the recovery. I have my whole workout I can send you. On my HIIT workout days, I actually do walk Afterwards, I get outside. But again, it's not this endurance routine that I'm doing. It's just like 30 minutes of brisk walking, or I get on a bike, or I'll swim. So that's kind of what that looks like. Okay, number 5, I stopped trying to outwork my diet. I was trying to find loopholes, protein bars, cheat days turned into cheat weekends. It's not going to work. You can't exercise your way out of a poor diet. You just can't. You don't burn enough calories in your workouts. Doesn't matter unless you're a triathlete, maybe. Other than that, you don't burn enough during your workouts. It's all about your diet. It's all about counting the calories at first. It really is. It's not necessarily calories. It's understanding what you're putting in your mouth and how much of it you're putting in your mouth. And that's writing it down. So especially as you get older, nutrition is like the most important. So for me, that means prioritizing protein. I had to prioritize protein. I thought I was getting enough. I was not getting close to it. You've got to be able to understand how much protein you're eating in a day and prioritize that. I eat now mostly whole foods. When I started writing everything down, I couldn't believe how much processed foods I was taking in. You've got to read the labels. Should be more than 1 or 2 ingredients on the label at max. Cutting back all those processed foods has actually relieved my stress. My hormones are getting back into place. I have more, I don't have that afternoon crash. I don't have to have a coffee in the afternoon like I used to. I believe the processed foods, the sugars, the refined carbs, as much as I thought I had those under control, I didn't. I didn't until I started writing those down. So tracking calories when I need to get my weight dialed in was huge. It wasn't to punish me. It was to understand. So it's more about now feeling my body. So again, over the next 30 years, I have more vitality. All right. 6. So recovery is part of my training now. It wasn't before. I just thought, oh, just get some sleep. Well, even my sleep was disrupted. I didn't know there were supplements that were good for you that you should take before you go to bed, like magnesium, that really helps with getting more REM sleep. Obviously, limiting the light in the room. I sleep with earplugs now. My sleep is a lot more protected than it was before. So when you're younger, you can get away with everything. You know that. But not now. I mean, you can beat yourself up, never sleep, wake up, go to the gym, and you feel great. But something happens as you get older, and it's true. Sleep matters. All right. Recovery matters. Stress, it happens and it builds up over time. Hydration matters. I never really thought about that as much. I mean, I drank water, but hydration after my workouts and during my workouts are key now. Mobility matters. I want to wake up ready to train, not wondering why everything in my body hurts and I've got to stretch for, a half hour to try to get into it. The older I get, the more I realize recovery isn't opposite of training. It's all part of it. Number 7 is not the beginning of a decline for you. Okay. It is actually a wake up call. You're going to start asking yourself different questions now, not, how big can I get? How much can I bench? What's the most calories I can burn? It's going to be, how do I stay strong? How do I stay mobile? How do I preserve my muscle? How do I maintain my energy? How do I stay capable? How do I make sure I'm doing the things I love at 70 and 80 years old? This is what reinvention after 50 means to me. That's why I named this channel Jesse Romero 2.0. I'm not trying to recreate a body I had at 25, although you can come pretty darn close. I'm building the body that I want at 55, 65, 70 years old and beyond. That's a completely different mindset, okay? I'm not fighting aging. I'm prepping for it. I'm not trying to turn back the clock. I'm trying to make the next chapter better than the last one. And you can do this too. So just stop following all that fitness advice around looking young and burning calories. All those videos, kick them out. I mean, they're super tempting and entertaining to watch, especially these younger guys or these super wealthy CEOs who have every single, supplement at their fingertips and now more time on their hands than ever. Stop watching them. We are busy men who are working. We only have a certain amount of time. We've got to do this right. It's got to be more thought put into it and more smart, not harder, right? So start thinking about the biological reality of getting older, how to build muscle, how to build strength, how to build cardiovascular capacity, building better mobility, power, better recovery, obviously eating well, eating better, and then getting into some other things that you like to do, walking, or swimming, hiking, biking. Train for capability and independence. Train for the life that you want decades from now. All right. I'm going to close with this. Your second act doesn't have to be a slower, weaker version of your first. It's not, that's not what getting older is about. It can be about getting stronger and wiser and more intentional. You're not trying to be 25 again. You're trying to become the strongest version of yourself, and you can do that. Until next time, keep building your faith, keep building your strength, and remember, your strongest years may still be ahead of you. All right, finish strong, everyone. Thanks so much. See you next time.